I was thinking about this, right? It's so much easier to be happy nowadays than, let's say, 100 years ago. Let me explain why. That might sound crazy, but let me explain, okay? I could have the most soul-crushing day. Actually, I'll get into that because yesterday was mildly soul-crushing towards the end. But let's say I have the most soul-crushing day, or you have the most soul-crushing day, whoever's out there listening. You open up Instagram or TikTok or YouTube or whatever, you see a funny meme or a funny video, and you start laughing even after you've already had a bad day. Okay? Now try explaining that to someone 300 years ago and say, yeah, I opened this rectangle and it makes me laugh.
Yeah, that's so interesting. But also, it's really interesting because nowadays there's a pretty large, I don't want to say a surge, but there's a lot of like parents that'll say, oh my God, like, it's okay. You know, growing up with all this social media stuff must be so difficult for like their kids, saying that, you know, it's causing them a lot of problems. And I see that. Like, people are saying, oh, it's not so easy for kids nowadays with social media. And to me, I find that very confusing because things that happen online are far less hurtful than things that happen in person. If somebody insulted you to your face, that's going to stick with you a hell of a lot longer than somebody saying something online.
Absolutely. That's
because
so
somebody
true.
says something online, just turn off the device. And
That's funny because every time somebody talked about cyberbullying growing up, everyone was like, just turn off the computer, man.
And like maybe that's stupid, but I hope that when you guys listen to our podcast, you kind of develop this idea of why do you need to absorb the negativity? And, you know, people are going to say things. Why does it matter? Same way, doing this right now, I guarantee you we'll get
I was literally just about to say that, bro. I was about to say
we'll get tons of comments of people just saying, bro, you suck. Stop this. Everybody's doing podcasts. Why are you doing it? And the truth is, we're not doing it for you. We're doing it for the people out there that find it and that enjoy it.
And I'd say more importantly, the people who need it.
Yeah.
I think that there's a lot of motivational content out there, and there's a lot of go hard, go at the gym, you know, do those things. But at the end of the day, you still want something mellow. You still need some things that changes your perspective, because you could go to the gym consistently for months and still not be happy because you haven't changed what's up here.
Exactly. It's interesting because it's all a mental game, man. Life is a mental game. That's the truth. Is that I think that physical health is important, but one major aspect of physical health is improving your mental health.
Well, think about it. The brain is the biggest,
No, skin is the biggest organ.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, that's actually an interesting question. It's kind of a
Tangent.
a bit of a tangent from our idea, but I saw a video where somebody said, you know, it's like, what's the biggest organ in the human body? But technically, the skin isn't in the human body. So when people phrase the question like, hey, what's the biggest organ in the body? Technically, it's not skin. But, yeah, it's kind of
okay, but then that means you're setting the skin as like the boundary for what we call the human.
That's interesting. It's all like the perception is what do you consider to be. But I'd say when we say inside, we all have a relative
I feel like
understanding
when
of
people say the largest organ, I think it should be largest organ of the human body, not in the human body.
exactly. I agree.
Because you could say, what's the edible part in an orange? That kind of doesn't make sense because the orange is inside the peel. But if you say, what's the edible part of an orange? You know what I mean?
No, that was the stupidest sentence.
Okay, think about it this
you
way.
would say, I don't know what you would say. That sentence made no sense
No,
at
it
all.
does because... Okay, listen, okay? You have the orange.
Yeah.
And then you have the peel on the outside of the orange.
Yeah, okay.
When you say in the orange, you are saying inside the peel of the orange.
Yeah.
Okay? So that
Okay.
means when you say what is the sweet, let's say, part of the...
Well, the peel isn't sweet, so that doesn't make any sense.
Okay, fine. What is the...
What's the orange part in an orange? It's an orange. This is the stupidest conversation ever, bro. We're getting nowhere.
Okay. Forget about that. Let's go back to my soul-crushing day yesterday,
Yeah.
okay? So, I don't know if many of you know this, but I've definitely mentioned it before that I'm in university. And as always, finals exam season makes you want to do unspeakable things. But as we approach the end of the exam season, by the way, I got completely stiffed because my physics exam was on the last day of the exam period, like the last exam block too. If the exam period ran from December 6th or something like that until the 18th, that was my examination period. My exam was on December 18th at 7 p.m. until 10 p.m. That's the last final exam. So I'm already depressed that I have a final exam on the last day. But hey ho, gotta stay positive. Gotta do what you gotta do. And at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I went into the exam. I sat down. I opened the exam, and my entire class collectively just did this. The sigh of agony when you realize that it's going to be 3 hours of torture. So I sat in that chair and I continued to write the exam. I mean, I'd say I did okay, but I was definitely struggling a little bit. And then I came home and I sat down for a second and I was like, man, that was tough. And then after that, I moved on, did what I got to do, and went to bed happy at the end of the day.
You gotta. That's big important life lesson out there. Go to bed happy, wake up happy. What happens in the middle of the day is all based on those two.
That's true. That's really true.
If you wake up really sad, and again, we were talking about it last episode of the waking up and seeing yourself in the mirror. What do you see? The most important thing is you want to be a happy guy when you get up. You want to be a happy person when you get up.
Good one.
Happy person when you go to sleep. First off, with sleep, this is something that we've learned in our families, is you never know if somebody's going to wake up the next day. So you always would want to go and your last memory be a happy one. And also, I'd say, when you have loved ones out there, go say goodnight to them. If you see this tonight, go say goodnight to your loved ones. Because you never know when one night they might not be there to wake up with you.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, you open up Instagram. I know this is all of us, by the way. You'll see 17 reels of a family of 4 dying in a car crash.
That is so terrifying, and I don't know where it came from. I'm not even, and it's so interesting that it's happening to so many people, because I'll open it up, and then I'll just see a car crash. I'll be like, bro, that person just died. I don't want to see that on my page. I don't. I'd rather see a funny meme than see that. That's horrifying. I open up the comments, everybody's like, damn, real number 85 of some dude getting killed in a car accident. I'm like, man, why is everybody getting this?
I think it's a reminder. You never know what's going to happen. You never know what's going to happen. Because at the end of the day, like our parents always say, we trust you. We trust you behind the wheel. We don't trust some of the other people out there who might do stupid things and then involve you in an accident.
Yeah. You got to be careful of the people around you. Flashback to last episode.
Very true, very true. But that's the scary thing, is you don't know what's going to happen. So you got to cherish every moment. And most of all, like you said, I think that the starting point and the ending point are very important in terms of a day. If you wake up happy and go to bed happy, it's just a never-ending cycle of happiness.
It's interesting to me also is if you think about life in that way, maybe not the start, because when you're born, you don't really have a concept. I mean, I don't know. If you remember the day you came out of the womb, congratulations, buddy. I don't think the rest of us do. But if you do somehow, I hope you're happy. Okay. But when you go and you pass away in the grave, do you really want your last memory to be a bad one? And you want to end it off on a good note. Everybody wants to end it off on a good note. Everybody wants to have the happy ever. Wait, what's it?
What are you saying?
The happy ending, I guess. Happily ever after. That's what I was saying. Everybody wants the happily ever after. That's what they want. So, and I believe that that's all controlled by the mind. The mind, I'd say, is probably the most powerful thing on the planet. Because it could completely change almost everything about a person.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, I think it is everything about a person. Everybody is based up off their mind, not their brain. That's an important distinction to make. Is that the brain is the physical entity. The mind is like spiritual identity. Okay. And I'm not trying to give some guru,
advice or anything.
Yeah, like that. It's not a religious thing. It's just a truth. Is that our consciousness is not so much linked to our brains as we think.
Yeah, let me talk to you guys one-on-one real quick. If you want to really understand and absorb, first of all, not just the things that we say, but the things that a lot of people out there who have found this truth out try to explain it, it might not make sense originally. Because I remember the first time I had to try and grapple with this idea of consciousness and that it being a separate entity from us, I was very confused, because it was always at, Mahesh uncle's house. He'd bring it up and be like, there's something crazy going on in your brain and you don't even know it. And every time he tried to explain it, I was so lost. And then one day it just clicked and I was mind blown that it's different. But
mind blown? See how we say mind blown, but not brain blown? Think about that.
That's true. That is very true. But anyways, the reason why I can guarantee that your consciousness or mind is not the same as your brain, think about it this way. Your thoughts are broken down to its simplest level, electrical impulses. That's the most quantifiable physical way to describe a thought. But beyond an electrical impulse, how do we translate that burst of electricity to I'm going to bake a cake today?
That's so crazy. I know, hey, if you have like a PhD or something out there and you can explain to us.
Oh, maybe it is explainable, yeah.
Maybe it is explainable, but from what we know, or from our understanding of life so far, it's a separate entity. And that's why it's so important to take control of that entity. Don't let it control you.
Yep.
That's a big problem that a lot of people fall into, is letting the mind run its course and then thinking they have to follow it. No, it's you set the course and then you let your mind run it.
Yeah.
And one thing that I'd say is very helpful is meditation. I think that one thing we grew up as Buddhists, and this was something that my grade 10 Sunday school teacher taught me. And he told me, meditation isn't about keeping your mind in one place. It's about recognizing when your mind leaves to go to another place. It's about the mindfulness is not holding your brain in one spot. Or your mind, I should say, in one spot. Mindfulness is understanding that your brain is going to other places. Not letting it run by itself, but controlling where it's going and understanding where it's going. And understanding that you are in control of that. Because a lot of people now, your mind is just going to, like, for example, people that sit in class and they don't pay attention. Now, I know there's things like ADHD out there that make it very difficult for a lot of people to focus. But I'd say on average, there are a lot of students out there where they'll just doze off in class. Or they'll just start thinking about random things. And I'm guilty of this too. I'm no better. Of course, I have days where I'm just like, damn. And I just start looking up at nothing. Like
Damn. That's it. Just
yeah.
damn.
You know, I'll just be in class and I'll just be like, man, like sometimes I'd be like, yo, if a roof tile is a 2x4, how big is the room? Like those are some of the thoughts I have sometimes in class. Because, you know, I feel my mind just going. Like, you know what? Let's calculate the area of the roof or the volume of the room. You know, I'm like, you know what? Why not? How big is the wall? You know, okay. Yeah, let me calculate that. That's what I would do in math class if I ever got bored. And that's not, that was me not recognizing where my mind is going. That was letting my mind run. But instead, if I thought, hey, okay, why am I thinking about this? What I should be thinking about is math. Then I would have been like, oh, well, I guess it is math.
It is math.
But if I'm thinking about the course material,
Yeah.
I should be thinking about that. Whoa, okay, Nithik, let's step back. Let's focus on the material. That's what my mind should have done if it was trained to do that. But instead, it was trained to just be like, damn.
Roof.
Volume, let's calculate.
Well, if you think about it, I like to see the mind as a horse. You're on the horse and you hold the reins. Question is, are you going to let the horse run off the rails and just go crazy? Or are you going to rein it in and actually direct it where you want to go?
Yeah.
That's the question. And I think that if you were to direct the mind where you really need to go, not only will you find your purpose in life, because that's a goal that a lot of people haven't accomplished yet, but you'll also unlock and fulfill the potential that you have in this lifetime.
You know what's interesting is I want to carry your horse analogy, and it's that you should train your mind to the point that it doesn't run off course anymore. And that doesn't mean, it doesn't mean that your mind isn't going to get distracted. Everybody gets distracted. Distractions are just a world that we live in. There is no silence every single distraction. Everybody thinks that there is, but there's always distractions. The question is, are you aware of them? That's the number one goal. And it's the same way with a horse. If you train a horse long enough, it's not going to run off the tracks, regardless of whether you're holding, like if you're telling it to do so or not. I meant equestrians out there. I'm sure that you guys would know this.
That and also dog trainers.
Exactly.
Well-trained dogs, you see when they're being walked on a leash, their owner will drop the leash. Some dogs, I saw a video yesterday, the dog barks at the owner, picks up the leash, and jumps up to give it in his hand again.
Because that's just what they're trained.
Exactly.
They've been trained to be disciplined.
And at the end of the day, you can do that to yourself too. It's a question of, will you fulfill that journey? Will you achieve what you know is possible?
Achieve your potential. And that is I think that potential is a hard topic to grapple with for a lot of people because it's trying to believe that there's more to you that you don't know.
Mm.
There's something that exists that you can't see, you can't feel, but you have to that you know is there. And that again, it's almost like religion.
I was gonna say that
It's
too.
it's like the way that I described it makes it sound very parallel. It's having a belief in something that you don't know is there. Well, no, that you know is there, but you can't see, feel,
it.
hear it.
Yeah.
You can't observe it with the five senses, but you know it's there.
Mhm.
And everybody has it. It's just you feel it in some people more than you do in others.
Mhm.
And also, are you looking for it? Some people will live a life that promotes their potential. A lot of people that grow up, like doing tons of extracurriculars or, achieving high grades in elementary school, they're going to feel like they have high potential because they've been taught their whole life, you're destined for greatness.
Mhm.
But somebody who's had to, scrimp and saving to get by as a kid, maybe they didn't come from the best thing. They see, like growing up, they see a lot of failure around their life. So they feel as though, hey, that's what my potential is far less. I'm not going to go far because the circumstances around me are telling me that I can't or telling me that I won't. But that's not true because I think that everybody's destined for greatness. Everybody's also destined for happiness and success. Because greatness, again, this is a topic that we continue to talk about, is that greatness is not monetary. It's not about money. Everybody has that.
Or rather, it's not only about money.
About money, exactly. Success is what you defined success to be. Success is when you hit the ceiling, and then you go past it and go to the next one.
Yeah.
That's success, is when you keep moving, and when you're happy to keep moving. If you're broken while moving, that's not success. The people out there that you may be making $300,000 on Wall Street, but if you hate every single day of your life, why are you really there?
Think about success as this long spiral tower, this very tall tower, okay? As you continue to climb this spiral staircase and reach new levels and see different views out the windows of this tower, if you're not happy to continue climbing up those steps, it's not success.
Exactly. It's not worth it because all you feel is pain.
Mhm.
And even if you get to the top, you wouldn't have been appreciative because you would have hated how long it took you to get there.
Exactly.
And the person that appreciates the destination more than the journey is not somebody that's really going to enjoy what they did.
Exactly. Far less happy with their progress.
Because it's so much easier for us to think about the past than it is to think about our current situation. When something, for example, especially in kids, I'd say, is when you're growing up, you'll do a lot of stupid, cringy things. But you don't think they're cringy.
At
It's
the
when you
time,
grow up, then you're like, damn, oh my God, I can't believe I did that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the same way. If you do something good in the past, you're going to feel proud about that thing. But sometimes the thing that you did today, you don't feel so proud about because it's not something that you remember. It's not something that feels like you're reminiscing about it. So if you reminisce about a bad journey, then your destination is going to be tied to that bad journey. But if you reminisce about a good journey, then that memory is tied to a good journey.
And at the end of the day, I think regardless of what destination you reach, you'll be happy because of the journey you took, right? You want to know something crazy that just popped into my mind when you were talking about how it's predominant in children?
Yeah.
People think they aren't born with potential or creativity. But if you look at us as kids, before we're introduced to all these limitations set by society or other people telling us we can't do things, what did we do as kids? Before the age of technology, we'd find sticks on the ground that look like guns and run around with them and play. And that was enough to keep us occupied for hours because of how creative we were.
I remember like those days back when, like, again, we're still young, but we didn't grow up around an iPad or an iPhone or anything. We had, for the most of our lives, we didn't really, or childhood at least, we didn't do anything on like the internet. It was all outdoor playing. And then eventually we started getting into YouTube and we'd watch YouTube, but we never watched YouTube by ourselves. That's what's interesting is we'd all group up together and then we'd sit down together and watch a YouTube video.
Yeah, the neighborhood kids.
Exactly.
I remember that, yeah.
We'd all come in, we had this one room, the computer room, where we just had one PC. It was a really terrible old PC. But we'd put it on, then we'd put it on a Ryan Higa video, and we'd all sit there and we'd laugh and we'd watch it. But we never did it by ourselves because we never wanted to feel isolated.
Yeah.
Because we grew up as a community together. And then the problem with nowadays society is people will go online and it kind of kills their creativity because they see everybody else doing everything else and they're not thinking about what I can do right now. And what we did, we went out. I remember we used to take sticks and we'd shave them down with knives
Oh my
to
god.
make
Yeah.
like the lighter part of the wood show, and then that part was the blade, and then
Yeah.
you'd have the darker part be the handle, and then we use sap to wrap string around the handle
Yeah.
to make it like.
Bro, we are just primitive animals.
Exactly. I mean, it's completely just going back 100 years, or maybe not, way more
thousands,
than that, thousands of
and
years.
thousands.
But it was fun.
It was
and it was
fun.
creative.
Yeah.
It was doing things that maybe other people did, but we thought about doing it.
I was about to say, we never had this conception as children that just because someone else might have done it, we shouldn't do it.
Mm-hmm.
And think about it this way. When you were a kid, realistically, you're not thinking, man, some kid in Pakistan has probably done this before. Why am I doing it? You never thought that. It was always about you and your friends. What are you and your friends doing? Just having fun and doing what you like doing. That's all it is.
It's so interesting because nowadays you'll be like, you can go online and you'll be like, damn, somebody's already done it. I'm not gonna do it. But us, we did things that other people did. We just didn't know that they did it.
Look at all the memes online.
Yeah,
Talking about how we've
stuff,
all
like,
done the same thing.
Hey, you guys have all rolled up your backpack straps. I was like, damn, bro, I swear I was the only person to ever do that.
Yeah.
But we really all aren't so different.
Mm-hmm.
We just think, we all think in different ways, but the human creativity, like the human creative mind, is very common amongst most people.
And you want to know why that's interesting? That's another point to prove that the mind is different from the body. Because the mind, I think that all of our minds are drawing inspiration and thoughts from the same place. That's why we all end up in the same area doing the same things, just at different points in time.
You know what I think is interesting? Is I think that the reason why so many of us did so many of these same things while we were kids is because when you're a kid, you act more on instinct than you do on logic. And I think that humans are biologically programmed to act more on instinct.
Yeah.
Because when you grow up, you start to think about things more logically. Like, hey, I'm not going to go and drink some milk and spill it everywhere, in my mom's lap. Yeah, of course, and like a teenager isn't going to think that. Obviously, a baby, they don't have a concept or anything. Or even like take a 5-year-old kid walking down the street who sees like an amputee or something and is like, hey, look, he has one leg. Of course, any rational like adult would be like, yo, don't
say
I'm not gonna point that out. I was like, you know what? Let that and maybe you have a thought, but you're not gonna yell that out loud. 5-year-old kid is just acting on instinct. Hey, I see, haha.
One leg.
Exactly. It's that instinct. It's just I see, I do.
Okay.
I think I do.
Yeah.
Not I think. Hold up, is this a good idea? And then I do.
That's true. That's
we have
very
like the
true.
extra processing step.
But I think that by integrating those limiters into our brain of thinking, man, what will other people think? Or man, is this a good idea? That doubt stops you from doing a lot of things.
Now, again, that's not saying don't have doubt because sometimes, yes, if you think, hey, man, I'm going to go floor my car at 200 miles an hour on the
Into a
highway.
tree.
Like, I guess you could. If you're having impulse thoughts like that, don't. Just PSA warning.
Stop
I
it.
think
Get some help.
I think that we've had a PSA warning probably one time on the last 4 episodes, but
I want to
in
say
case we
several
haven't,
times, but okay.
PSA warning, don't kill yourself. Don't do that. Bad. Okay? But anyways, you would have that process step of, yo, I'm about to die. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
So we don't do it.
Okay, but overall.
Yeah, overall, I get the point is don't put the limiters in your mind. Don't think, hey, man, everybody's going to think I'm a failure. Everybody's going to think I'm not going to be able to do this, so I probably shouldn't do it. Don't get wrapped up in what everybody else believes. Figure out your own potential. That's the most important part. And, a lot of people get discouraged when they're not moving enough in their life because they feel as though they have no potential because I'm not doing anything. I'm not moving. Think about physics, okay?
Okay, I'm going to get really mad if you
Oh,
say
yeah,
what
I
I was
forgot.
going to say. No. I didn't tell you I was going to talk about this. So
Oh, it's
if
about to
you
be
say
crazy.
what I was going to say, I'm going to kill you.
I guarantee you we're about to say the same
I'm going to kill him. Okay, go.
Just so we're clear, I'm going to say, when you have a lot of potential energy, you have no kinetic energy, which
my
means that you're not moving. When you have
That's
the
crazy.
most amount of potential energy when you have the least amount of kinetic energy. At least before you go into other energy forms, but in general, in basic physics, if you have a lot of potential energy, you have almost no kinetic energy.
Which means you're not moving.
Exactly. When you start moving is when your potential starts to, you're
Convert.
actually using it. Exactly. You're converting it. So the thing is, you got this reservoir of potential. It's like a dam, right? Dams have potential energy built up in them. It's only when they let the potential
Water
energy flow
Yeah.
is when they actually start to move. They start to generate. They
Convert
start
it.
to create.
Yeah.
So the question is, when are you going to let your potential flow?
Okay. Here's the thing. I was going to use a physics concept to explain potential as well, but it's different. Luckily,
Ooh.
it's different. Okay,
That's
ready?
crazy.
This is so crazy because you can use science and apply it to so many deeper concepts. That's what people don't really think about science. But anyways, physics, electricity. What is a battery? What is voltage? Voltage is literally described as electric potential, right?
Yeah.
So when you think of a battery, it's storing all this potential, okay? But it's never released until you connect a wire to it and add a load to it, add some resistance to it. So you'll never discover your potential if there's no resistance in your life.
And also, if there's no goal in your life. Because think about it. If you have a closed circuit, I mean, again, resistors come from some kind of load, some kind of object.
Yeah.
But in general, if you just have a closed circuit, what do? You short circuit. You burn out because you have nowhere to go. You're just moving to move.
Yeah.
But instead, if you have a goal, now you're moving for a good reason. Now you're moving towards something, to do something.
Yeah.
Your energy is being expended.
It's being used on something.
It's being used on something. So, when you take like a battery and if you just have wires connecting it, you're just moving in a loop. You're not getting, and no work is being done.
Yeah, then the wire blows up.
Exactly. Because you feel overwhelmed because you're really not getting anything done. You're just spending energy to spend it. But when you add resistance, something that needs the energy that you're putting in, now you're going to start moving.
That's crazy.
What?
You discover, I get your idea. You discover your potential through that because if I sit around doing nothing all day, just existing to exist, I'm going to feel like a worthless loser at the end of the day. But let's say I dedicate my time now to running this podcast. That acts as a light bulb in a circuit. Exactly. Now I'm dedicating my energy towards something. I'm creating light. I'm creating something. And now I don't feel short-circuited. I'm not going to blow up.
Exactly. And at the end of the day, you might have nothing left in the tank, but that means you knew that you spent it all.
Exactly. You did something with your potential. The potential you were given. God gave it to you, or whatever you believe in gave it to you, and you used it for your purpose. And that's something that we should be proud of. Yeah. That's something you should be proud of, and you should keep doing every single day. You want to talk about the greatest story of potential in human history? Okay, maybe not human history, but animated history. You have an idea?
I do.
Okay, ready?
I don't think we're going to get this right.
3, 2, 1.
Naruto.
Kung Fu Panda.
God damn it.
Kung Fu Panda.
Oh my God.
The greatest story of potential ever.
That is,
ever.
Yeah, beautiful.
Literally, Po said to Master Shifu, "So you set me up to fail?" And Shifu says, "Yes." And he said, "Why would you do that?" And Master Shifu said, "If you only did what you know you can do, you'll never be more than you are right now."
Damn.
Po, a big fat panda, becomes the Dragon Warrior. Not Tigress, trained martial artist, ready to take on anyone. No, it was Po. He had it within him. You want to take this a step further on how crazy Kung Fu Panda is? All right, I'll get into it. Ready?
Okay.
Dragon Warrior. Okay? It's said that the Dragon Warrior is the person who gets to see that scroll and attain some sort of crazy power. But what happens when Tai Lung steals the scroll?
Oh my God.
He opens the scroll, and it's empty. And what does Po say? There is no secret formula. It's just you.
Oh my, and that's beautiful because if you remember the movie from the scroll, when you open the scroll, it just reflects.
It's a reflection.
But what's so cool is when Tai Lung opens it, he twists it and he moves it. So when he looks in the scroll, he's not seeing his true self. He sees this distorted image of him that he imagines he's the Dragon Warrior. But when Po opens it, he opens it straight. It's clear and it shows him.
And that's
That's
why Kung Fu
crazy.
Panda is goated. I'm telling you, it's one of the craziest stories of how you are destined for greatness. It's just a question of, do you realize that there's no holy grail? There is no magical 3-step formula to getting rich, to getting happy, to having a clear mind. It's just you. What are you going to do? What are you going to accomplish today?
Yeah.
That's the question.
That is so crazy. It's just you. It's such a powerful statement.
Mm-hmm.
It's you versus you. That's the thing. Is a lot of people think it's you versus the world.
No.
It's you versus everybody else. It's you versus everybody out there. No, it's you versus you.
Exactly.
It's you versus who you were yesterday.
Mm-hmm. And at the end of the journey, when you look back, you're going to see, did I fulfill my potential? So the question is, are you going to be like Poe and discover that and fulfill it or not?
It's a great question.
That is the question. And that's why I think it's absolutely absurd how many deep life lessons are taught in old animated shows.
Yeah, I don't know how. I think like this is gonna be a bit of a hot take.
Okay.
But I think it's very true. Is that old animated shows prioritize teaching life lessons, but present day animated shows and movies prioritize teaching present ideologies. And I'm not saying that I agree with certain ideologies. I disagree with certain ideologies. I'm just stating the fact. I'm not trying to be controversial out here. But when you see back then the TV shows, is that when people talked about them, they didn't talk about what does it represent. They talked about how is this, what can I draw from this? But nowadays, it's all about preaching. It shouldn't be about preaching. It should be about people finding a lesson in it. Or like that's why, a lot of people have the problems with diversity casting. And one place where nobody even thinks about it is in The Flash. The fact that Joe West and Iris West are black. In the comics, they're both white.
I didn't even think about that.
And same with Wally West. They're all white in the comics. In every animated series, they're all
They
white.
are. Wow.
But
yeah.
in the TV show, they're all black. And I've never heard anybody complain
about that.
because it was never something that they really talked about.
Yeah,
It was
and
just,
more
it just
importantly,
existed.
it's not it may have even been the reason, but it wasn't the focal point of the show. They weren't
Yeah,
focusing on the fact
that's
that
true.
he was cast for the role because he's black.
No, it was just he was cast for the role because he was a great actor.
Yeah,
And he did a phenomenal job. Hey,
exactly.
we all love
Joe.
West. Like you see, like I see him in other movies. I'm like, that ain't no random. No, that's Joe.
Joe.
Right there.
That's Joe.
That is Mr. West,
That is.
not Kanye West.
Wake up, Mr. Wet. Okay, I've been listening to so much Kanye. By the way, Kanye, what the hell, man? Where the
Yeah.
album at?
I think I'm assuming everybody that watched the episode saw.
Oh, yeah.
He did not
Yeah.
because
You didn't drop it.
he didn't drop it. It's very sad, but
It's okay. You want to know something interesting, though?
he rescheduled it.
Well, yes, but Kanye is an artist, okay? And artists, I believe, are the greatest at understanding the idea of potential. Okay.
That's true. Yeah,
Let me explain.
of course.
Artists create something. They create masterpieces. They create whatever it is their craft represents, okay? And in order to fulfill their idea of potential, they need time. And more importantly, they don't let what other people think about their art stop them from making it. Especially Kanye is a
Oh,
great
yeah.
example. He's never been one to stop doing something because somebody
And
said
I'll
so.
say this first. Like, I think some of Kanye's music is kind of whack.
Oh,
Like, some of the
100%.
lyrics this guy says is so off-putting. Like, it catches you off guard. You're like, what did
What?
this guy just say? What did I just listen to? Or some of the beats he produces are just so weird. They're not the regular thing that, especially when this guy came into the game of rap. Like, I've watched a couple of videos on it. Of course, we weren't, like, really around.
there, yeah.
But when you learn about it and how this guy came into the game with all these crazy beats that, nobody was talking about. He wasn't rapping about shooting and killing people. He was just rapping about, random things or like his life.
He literally
And-
talks about that on Through the Wire.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He's
That's
rapping
not-
about how he wasn't talking about smoking dope and shooting people.
Exactly. He chose to make something different. He took a risk, but he used his potential, what was inside him.
Yeah.
He stopped trying to do what everybody else was doing and was like, hey, he pulled a Miles Morales. He said, nah, I'm going to do my own thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
He thought, hey, I'm going to go out there and I'm going to do what's within me to do. What my potential is. I'm going to convert what's in me and put it out there for everybody else. Instead of thinking I'm going to take what everybody else is thinking and
Use
put it in my own mind.
Yeah. It's a
Instead-
question of putting out what's in here. That's the question. What's in here and what can I put out to the rest of the world? And the interesting thing about potential is you achieve the most when you use it, but you use it to benefit the rest of the world. And the interesting idea behind that is look at social media. The people who blow up the most are the people who change the most lives.
Yeah.
The people who touch the
That's
most
true.
hearts, the people who help the most amount of other people. Right? Look at Sam Sulek. He's inspirational because he's mellow, he's calm, but he motivates you and constantly tells you, hey, you can do it. Right? Get in the gym, lift that weight. That's what Sam's content is. And now look at him. He's famous. Right? So at the end of the day, using your potential to help other people is one of the most prosperous ideas because not only do you prosper, but the rest of the world prospers. And as you make the world a richer place, you become a richer person too. Not just financially, but spiritually, emotionally, and mentally.
Exactly.
Right? It's just everything relies on you utilizing what you were given. And I feel like nowadays people give up so damn easily, even though they have so many advantages compared to what other people had to go through thousands of years ago. Right? If you compare our daily struggles to the struggles of just trying to put food on the table 200 years ago, look at the difference, man. We have evolved so far to the point that our problems are all up here. They're not most of us. They're not physical, right?
Now,
For most of us.
I want to be honest with you. I'm about to say that if you want to flash back hundreds or thousands of years to find an example of when life was harder, I suggest all of you go read this book right here. I think it might be in reverse on the camera, but it's Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. Now, we're both extremely inspired by David Goggins. And in this book, he talks about his life. And man, this guy has had some of the craziest stories ever. And that is a story of potential. When you read his story, whether you think it's fake or whether you think it's real, that is a story of potential. There's a lot of people out there that say he's faking it, he's lying. But in the end, to me, it's who cares if he's lying? Which I think, it's the truth is, he put something good out there. If you think it's fake, that's up to you.
Which is, by the way, just to interject, if you think it's fake, personally, I think you're crazy. Because if you look at how he detailed this story, I guarantee you most of the people who say it's fake probably haven't read the book.
Yeah.
If you read how detailed his story is and the subtleties that are in each story, like, oh, he kept the gun here under this pillow to threaten us with at night. It's so detailed that you know that it's real.
Yeah,
he
it's
lived
just something that you, like, when you read a book and you feel as though you were there, that's when you know it's a good book.
It's true. It's
and that's
real.
why people always say, like, readers, like people that love to read, they'll always say, man, it's like I'm going into this world, into another dimension. I get to explore. Because those are the best authors, or people that when they write their book, you read it and you're like, damn.
You get taken to the place that it came from, yeah.
Actually, I'm about to relate this back.
Okay.
All the way back. Well, not all the way, but I guess to last episode, where we were talking about your life being a book. When I will go out, one thing that I don't want to do is drink. And not meaning like, hey, have a sip of wine or something, or a little bit of rum, or a small drink, or maybe one beer with your friends or something like that. Of course, you can drink, but you choose not to. And I personally wouldn't want to drink. Is the people that get blackout drunk. You may think, oh my God, last night was crazy, man. But the truth is, what do you really remember from last night? Like,
That's
what
so
do you
true.
really remember? Man, I woke up in my bed. I was hungover. Man, my socks were on the other side of the room. My shirt was on the ceiling. and then it's, yeah, bro, but what happened last night? It's like, man, last night was crazy. What happened? Detail it so I could be there. Write that page in your book so that I could be there.
Oh my
But
God.
damn, man, that book, that page has one line on it. Last night was crazy. That's all that's on there. There's nothing else. Because guess what? You don't remember.
That's so true. That's crazy. I didn't even
Right?
think about that.
You gotta be aware of what's happening in your life, man. Do you not want to remember this? Is your life
Oh, God.
like you did the craziest thing? Maybe you did. Maybe you jumped off the roof into the pool. Do you remember it though?
No.
Exactly. So what was the point?
There was no point.
Exactly.
And I think that is a waste of potential right there. That's
you had a potential memory right there.
Oh,
That's crazy.
Yeah,
You had
that's
a
true.
moment that you could have said, man, I did this. But then it's, damn, I just completely forgot I did that. I think if you forget something, it wasn't that important. I think the most important thing. That's why I don't say don't take pictures of things, but sometimes I'll see a beautiful sunset and I'll be like, man, like I don't like the last sunset that I saw that I really loved was I went to school early before like I went really early.
So sunrise.
And I walked, or yeah, sunrise. That's what I meant. But and I looked and I just saw this golden break in the clouds, and I remembered so vividly because I stood there for a sec and I watched other people taking out their phones, taking pictures. And I'm not slandering you for doing that.
Oh yeah, absolutely
But
not.
when I saw it, I was just like, you know what? If a memory is so important to me, I'm going to remember it. That's why all the times that we go out to, there's this one Thai restaurant in White Rock that we always go to, and I'll remember every single time that we go there. I remember what table we sit at, what I ordered, what we talked about, because those are such big memories for me.
And yeah, realistically, for a busy family, you often don't get to cherish those moments.
Exactly.
So when it happens, it's really important to you, and you remember those things, right?
It's the same thing with Christmas, man. About to come up next week, and we're both really excited, I'm sure.
Love Christmas. Hey, I just realized we're in Christmas colors. I'm white for the snow, and you're red. Let's go.
White's not really a Christmas color, buddy.
How dare you?
It's red and green, okay?
Okay,
Let's not get funny here.
Okay, let me ask you this. What color's the pom-pom on Santa's hat, huh, buddy?
You could have said what color is Santa's beard. That would have been a
Yeah,
far
but like
better example.
realistically, most people's beards become white with age, so that's different.
Santa's like...
What color's the pom-pom on Santa's hat?
What color is Santa's hat?
Red. Where's the green?
The tree.
That's not on Santa. It's red and...
but that's
Okay,
just on the
listen.
tree, bro.
Green is associated with the elves, so I get the Christmas parallel. Why are you shocked?
You know who the green is really associated with?
The Grinch?
Exactly.
Okay, so what does that have to do with
I don't
this?
know. I just thought about it. It's pretty cool.
Okay, anyways, red outfit, white accents. White is a Christmas color. You know what? Debate it in the comments, okay? Tell me,
You know
is
what?
white a Christmas color?
Maybe that's a fair statement, but red and green are the Christmas colors.
All right, well, we'll see. The comments will speak for
Okay,
itself.
the more that I think about it, it kind of seems weird because all candy canes are like
red
and white.
white.
But still, I would say red and green are the Christmas colors.
Okay, forget about the Christmas
Anyway,
colors, man.
with Christmas, every year, you get it once a year. Sadly, I wish Christmas was every day. Actually, maybe I don't.
No.
You know, that's interesting is that we all wish it was every day, but if it was every day, we wouldn't enjoy it as much.
It wouldn't be as important.
Exactly. It's the same way that Mr. Tate can have a tomahawk steak every single day. He's not going to enjoy it as much as the guy who's broke and gets it once a year or once a month to celebrate that big moment because it's so tied to emotional happiness.
And think about it this way. Even in his own stories, he recounts the times when him and Tristan ate one thing every year for their birthday. But that's still some of the happiest moments of their lives.
Exactly.
Was getting KFC when they were broke.
Yeah.
It's not always about how frequently can you do it. It's just how special is it, right? And it's as special as you make it out to be.
Yeah. And on the topic of Christmas, man, you go there, you get that morning, you wake up, and you run into your parents' room, get up, it's Christmas, Merry Christmas. Like all those energies as young kids. When you run down when you see that Santa dropped off gifts, you know, you were getting hype. Or when you saw that he drank the cookies and he ate, drank the milk, ate the cookies. That's what I meant.
Bro, I love how you said that, and it took me a second. I was like, huh?
No, I was like, I said drank the cookies, and I was like,
Ate the milk.
and he ate, and I was like, wait a minute. I already said cookies in the sentence. So I had to pause. But that emotion and those memories, that nostalgia, that's something you're never going to forget.
True.
Because it's something that you so heavily remember.
You want to know something I remember very, very vividly?
Yeah.
One Christmas, when we were over there, and we got an Elite Trainer box.
Oh
Each
my
of us got an
God,
Elite Trainer
the
box,
Mewtwo ones.
right?
Yeah,
I remember you went downstairs to do your unboxing. I went upstairs, and then like we split into groups of two.
Yeah,
and we recorded them. Oh my
Dude,
God!
I remember I pulled a full art Kiram EX, and I was so happy.
Yeah.
And we lost it. I can't find it. I don't know.
You know what I remember so vividly that we still have? When when we were recording, and I sat there and pulled the golden secret rare Mewtwo from that.
God.
I got up. I was jumping up and down. I was screaming. I was like, oh my God. Oh my God. Oh my God. My year is made. It's over. I'll never be sad for the rest of my life. I just pulled this card. This one single piece of paper that I pulled from this box is enough to make me happy. That happy as a kid. Right? And I still think about that moment. I still vividly in my mind, I can see myself running out of the room screaming, "Oh my God!"
Dude, you know what's crazy?
What?
Is I remember the second time that we pulled a uh, golden secret rare card was in my room where we got the Gyarados.
Yeah.
The shiny Gyarados.
Yeah.
And I remember one of our friends, because there was like 6 or like 4 of us maybe in that room. I think it was just the 4 of us. And one of our friends grabbed a cardboard and started hitting himself on the head because we were all freaking out so much. Like, he was going crazy because that I just remember seeing it so vividly. Have you ever had a memory so vivid to the point that you could like pause it and like leave your brain and like 3D look at your dream? If you get what I'm saying, like imagine you had a vision, okay, or not a vision, a memory. Now you pause everything happening in the memory, so it's just a still frame of everything.
Oh, and you can
like
creative mode around
yeah, like
it.
exactly creative mode or like drone view all around it.
Yeah.
That's
yeah.
how some of these that memory is. Like I remember how on the floor I had my Bumblebee toys all like on one side and the Thor toy, like the action figure
I
on
remember
the side. And then I remember the drum set was in my room, and then my closet's here, my bed is here, and then man, like I remember us sitting like right here on the side, and then I jumped on my bed, and then one of our friends runs out of the room. It's just such a vivid memory because it was such a good one.
It's those simple things really that you gotta hold on to. You gotta remember those. It's really important. And at the end of the day, hey man, you see us going off on these tangents. Why? Because those moments are precious.
Exactly.
Life is precious, and we should all enjoy it. But to enjoy life,
you need to go the distance.
You need to go the distance. You gotta do what you gotta do.
And you gotta do what you can do. That's the most important thing. Is what are you really doing? And one thing that this book touches upon. No, we are not sponsored, but David Goggins, hit us up.
Okay.
Wouldn't mind a sponsor. I don't know. I'm doing pretty good marketing right now.
David Goggins definitely does not do sponsorships.
Actually, yeah,
he lives his own life. He just does his own thing.
The one thing that he talks about is the 40% rule, where when you think that you're at your limit, you've only done actually 40% of what you can do.
Yeah.
And I think whether that be true or not, that is a phenomenal principle to live your life by. Is when you're at your limit, you're like, bro, I'm done. Like, man, I studied for 2 hours. I'm tired. Wait a minute. I could definitely do more than that. Then you hop on the 3rd, and then the 4th, and then the 5th hour. And I'm not saying like study for 5 hours straight. I don't know if that's really healthy for you. But the premise is that, hey, man, you can do a hell of a lot more than you think you can.
Yeah.
And the question is, are you going to?
Real talk. Number one place where you find out that you're capable of so much more. The gym.
Oh, I see.
You're always going to go for some weight is going to be a PR for you. For example, if you walk up to that bench and 225 is sitting on that bar, you've never done 225 before.
That's a very high bar to set for like a lot of people.
Okay, fine. 135, one plate. Okay?
For somebody that's relatively new to the gym.
Fine. Relatively new to the gym, yeah.
135. Yeah,
135 is
plate.
relatively simple. Okay? When you walk up to that bar and you see 135 and you've never done it before, I remember the first time I did 135. First of all, I was ecstatic when I did it. And second of all, when I got under it, I didn't know that I would, whether or not I'd be able to lift it. But I go into it knowing that I have the potential to lift it. You got to know it's in there. That I have the capability to do it. It's just a question of whether or not I can bring it into fruition.
You know, it's interesting. It's something that we're referencing again, but Kanye West, he said, if I wanted to be in the NBA, I could be in the NBA.
I love that.
And he's like, no, you can't. Like, the interviewer's just like, no, you can't, man. Come on. Like, you could not be in the NBA. And he's like, yeah, I can. And he's like, why do you think you could be in the NBA? He says, because I believe that I can do anything I put my mind to. And again, I guarantee you, so many people told you this as a kid. It's like, you can do whatever you put your mind to, and then you would come up with the stupid response like, can I fly? Can I walk through walls? And of course not, you can't. But as you grow up and you really think about the advice that people gave you as a kid, they're really good advice. And I love the quote of, you can do anything you put your mind to, because there's so much more truth to it than people think. People will genuinely go into things just thinking, man, I can't do it.
Yeah.
There's no way I could do this. But then you do it and you'll be like, damn, I could have done more. That is a really fun part of life, is when you go and you do something that you didn't think you could do and you're like, damn, man, I could do even more.
I'm going to tell you something crazy. There's a quote. There are only two types of men. He who believes he can and he who believes he can't. Both are right.
What?
You are capable of anything you believe you can do. So the question is, are you going to sit there and say, damn, I'm not going to pass this test, I'm screwed? Or are you going to sit there and think, I'm going to do this, I can pass this test, I just got to study a little more, I just got to work a little harder?
No, the part of they are both right is the most brilliant part of that quote.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think you can do it, you will never achieve what you can do.
Exactly.
Who said this?
I'm going to be honest, I'm pretty sure I read it in a book. I want to say might have been Meditations by Marcus Aurelius, maybe.
Damn, we've had a lot of Marcus Aurelius quotes.
Yeah. It's actually a really
man.
wise book. If you haven't read it, I would suggest reading it. It's a really short read, and it's really helpful for your
I think
mind.
maybe every couple of episodes we'll drop or maybe every episode we can drop like a book that we think you should read.
This
And
episode
is.
has to be this one.
Camera hurt.
Can't hurt me.
Camera hurt me.
Can't hurt me.
Can't hurt me.
Read
Definitely a great read, I think. It's not a long read. Like, the book is relatively short. And it's pretty big text.
Oh, yeah.
So-
That's true.
And I think it's a very engaging book. So if you're someone who doesn't like to read, I think that you would still enjoy reading it. But again, the premise. And also, even if you don't enjoy reading, you can read.
Yeah.
Don't think you can't. You can.
At the end of the day, what do you believe you're capable of?
Exactly.
You wanna
Belief
know.
is the most important thing.
You want to talk about belief?
Let's
Another
talk about it.
another crazy place where you see belief the most is anime. Okay? I believe that, of course, it's fiction, but some fictitious tales have the best stories. Okay?
Yeah.
Look at a textbook example of Naruto. Okay? Grew up as a delinquent kid, and yet look at him. At the end, he becomes super successful and becomes the leader.
Yeah. But
Why? Because he
because
told
he
everyone.
that he would.
He told everyone, one day I'm going to be the Hokage. If he never
Spoilers
said that,
for those of you that haven't watched it.
you think
never
some?
know.
Okay,
You never know. You got to be careful.
that's true. That's
There's
true.
a lot of people out there. If you haven't watched it, pause. Spoiler warning. Spoiler warning. Do not go further. Pause the
Okay.
episode.
One day,
Now go ahead.
well, first from the day he was born, he said, "I'm gonna be Hokage. I'm gonna be Hokage, no matter what. I'm gonna be the chief of my village." Then what happened? Years and years down the line, he finally achieved it.
Yeah.
Why? Because he said, "I can do it. I can do it.
It's the
I
same
can
way
do
he
it,"
said, I'm going to bring Sasuke back.
and you did.
And he did. After all that time, like everybody's saying, bro, give up. Give up. Give up.
Literally his
He
best
said,
friends.
no, I know that I can do it.
Mm-hmm.
That's the most important thing. Or even take Rock Lee, for example. This guy was born with the biggest disadvantage, is that he couldn't use ninjutsu like everybody else. He couldn't do the magic that everybody else could do. What did he have? A physical body. That's all he could do.
And he used it.
And he trained it, and he worked it. He said, this is what I've got. This is where I'm going to get.
And he's the best example of realizing potential because this guy broke himself to the point where all his bones were broken after his fight with Gaara. And
Yeah.
they said, you'll never fight again. And look at him. He still breaks those barriers and continues going. It's
Exactly.
just like David Goggins if he was put into a show, right? David runs races, breaks his feet. People say, there's no way that you're going to run again after that. And then what does he do?
Gets
Comes
up
back.
and does it again. Yeah.
Has
Every single
surgery
time.
on his heart. Dude, you cannot keep running. I can.
Exactly.
And I will.
Because guess what? It can't hurt me.
Damn right.
It won't put him down. And
Exactly.
the same way, you shouldn't let things put you down. Also in life, you shouldn't let the other people tell you that you aren't built for that, or that you can't do that. Instead, you should be telling yourself, "Dude, I'm built for what I know I can do." Is look within yourself though. Don't take the false idea of this is all I can do.
Yeah.
That is probably one of the most harmful statements that can ever be uttered to a person. Is this is all I can do,
Yeah.
or this is all you can do.
You can always do more.
Exactly.
You can.
Now, the thing is, you don't always need to be chasing doing more. You need to be chasing what you need to do,
Yeah.
you know? And that kind of sounded really redundant, that sentence. But if you really look deep, it's not always about reaching the next level, but it's about understanding that, hey, man, I shouldn't just be satisfied with doing the bare minimum.
Yep.
I should be satisfied by pushing myself to the limit. Because the truth is, when you get up to the limit, that bar rises again. And then when you get there, it's going to rise again. And
Yep.
again and again, it's going to keep going. There is no final ceiling.
Yep.
There's no maximum. It will keep going. It's like, for example, in the gym, after you bench 135, is that all you'll ever be able to do?
Nope.
You keep going, and guess what? That bar is going to keep getting higher. Now, you can continuously chase that, which I'd say is a beautiful thing to do. But be happy every time that you reach as close as you can get to that bar.
Yeah. At the end of the day, be proud of yourself and make progress and understand that you are always capable. what you want to do is doable. If
Exactly.
we let the perceptions or the limitations of our own mind stop us from doing things, we wouldn't start this podcast. David Goggins wouldn't go from being a 300-pound fat man to being a Navy SEAL. All these people who succeed understand the fundamental law of potential, and that is you are capable of what you believe you're capable of. At the end of the day, you have what it takes within you. The question is, will you use it?
And on that note, we are bringing to an end episode numero 5 of the Brighter Horizons podcast. But before we go, y'all know what time it is. It's time for quote
Of
the
week. Yes, sir.
Hit 'em.
So today, we have a quote from, I'll say it at the end. The quote goes like this. Most people underestimate what they can do in a year. Most people overestimate what they can do in a year, but they underestimate what they can do in 2 or 3 decades. You know who said that?
I know I've heard it. Wait. I don't know.
Tony Robbins.
Yes.
He said that when a guy, I believe he had some mental health issues, or he said he was suicidal or something like that.
Talked about it. I remember.
And the truth is, you are capable of it. So don't freak out that you haven't achieved your potential within 1 year or 6 months of starting your endeavor. This podcast isn't going to get 100,000 views on the 3rd episode. It's going to take months and months of effort, continuous pursuit to fulfill our potential. But we know that we have it in us to do it, and we're going to fulfill it one way or another.
Thank you guys so much for joining us on this 5th adventure on this podcast. I hope you guys check out the last episodes if you haven't, and make sure to tune into the next one. But in the meantime, stay safe and live a positive life, y'all. Peace out.